So I'll just go with how to go with mushroom production and how about the market potential in India as well as in the globe. So basically, mushroom is a fungi. So it is producing a fleshy fruiting body. So especially it consists of a stack. So we will just see like an umbrella. So there will be a stack with an umbrella cap. So that to constitute a mushroom. So which is it is a fungi, which is an edible fungi. So the cap structure is nothing but your phylus, and the thread-like structure is nothing but your mycelia. So we quite often use this word mycelia in most of the fungi fruiting body. So this mycelia, so it absorbs the nutrient from the soil. It do not require any sunlight for their growth. So what are the main, why we want to concentrate more on mushroom cultivation? Because nowadays the global need for mushroom is increasing day by day because it has several, the health benefits. To mainly it concentrates for, it acts as an anti-cancer element, and it also provides good result for the diabetic patients, and it helps in curing several diseases as well. And it is also more profitable agribusiness venture because we wish to concentrate more on entrepreneurship. Though we learn in several books and everything, so if we implement in an environment where it can be a more profitable way, so it's better to go with that type of business. So this mushroom cultivation, so this involves very less investment, and also it requires very less space for cultivation. So in all over the globe, so the top producers of these mushrooms are your US, China, Italy, and Netherlands. In India, the topmost producers are from Uttar Pradesh to Kerala. Now it is extending towards most of the countries as well. So we have around 10,000 species of edible mushrooms that are grown around the world. So out of which 70 species are commercially cultivated in the Indian environment. So in that 70 species, about 10 to 15 species, they have they are adapted to any of the climatic conditions all over the country. So we will just go with some of the important mushrooms that have, the edible mushrooms that have a greater potential in the market. So the first one is your button mushroom. So white button mushroom we used to call that commonly. So it is Agaricus bisporus. So it is mostly cultivated in temperate regions, and that too in hilly areas. In most of the country, this button mushrooms has been cultivated. In most of our state, this button mushroom has been cultivated. So the most of the varieties, the strains that is cultivated are S11, TM79, and Horst H3. And the most edible temperature for cultivating this button mushroom is 20 to 22 degrees Celsius, and the relative humidity is 85 to 90%. So if at all we don't have that exact temperature exact temperature around us, so we can make the environment, where we cultivate the mushrooms, so that can be made into this 20 to 22 degrees Celsius, and we can go with cultivation of this button mushroom. So the total life cycle is around 90 days, so almost 3 months for its production. And it yields around 800 to 900 grams per bed. So from 4 kgs of compost which we prepare, so we will get for every, for one cycle, we will get around 800 to 900 grams of it. So the shelf life of storing is around about 2 days for normal temperature, and if it is refrigerated, it can be stored up to 3 days. The protein content in this mushroom, the button mushroom is very high as some 23.9%. Then we have the next edible mushroom, that is your oyster mushroom. So we have, which is nothing but a pleurotus species. So we have several pleurotus species that has been cultivated all over the country, even all around the world. So the suitable temperature is around 20 to 30 degrees Celsius, and its relative humidity should be 70 to 90%. So if at all you could not maintain that relative humidity, we can install sprinklers to maintain the room temperature as well as the relative humidity. So the life cycle is around 35 to 45 days. So it is less than 2 months. So you can harvest many times, and the yield will be very higher. So it is around 635 grams of mushrooms can be harvested from when you use 500 grams of paddy straw. So mostly the medium that is used for cultivating oyster mushrooms will be your paddy straw. Then we will use wheat straws, and in some places we use sorghum straws as well. So when we use sorghum straws to reduce the pH, we use calcium carbonate while we are preparing the beds. I mean the mushroom beds. Then the shelf life is around 1 day because the texture will be very light. So it gets, I mean, the freshness will not be there. So the with room temperature, we can maintain it only for a day. But if it is refrigerated, we can have it for 2 days. And the protein content is also higher as around 23.6%. So these are the mushroom bags that can be prepared by ourselves, and the spawns can be added to the bed so that it gets, it gets the fruiting within 35 to 40 days. And it can be harvested periodically at like 2 days once or 3 days once, depending upon the growth of the mushrooms. Then we have milky mushroom. So this is Calocybe indica. So this is also known as summer mushroom. Why? Because it can be cultivated in the tropical conditions as well. So the temperature it requires is around 33 to 40 degrees Celsius, and its relative humidity should be around 85%. So the life cycle is around 45 to 50 days. So the yield will be 720 grams of mushrooms from 500 grams of paddy straw. And the shelf life is around 3 days at room temperature and 5 days when refrigerated, because the thickness of the mushrooms will be higher. So the shelf life will be very more. Then the protein content is around 32%, which is highest when compared to other mushrooms. Then we have paddy straw mushroom, that is Wolverelia wolvaceae. So it is also called, it is known as hot mushroom, the same thing. So it can be cultivated, it can be produced or cultivated in the tropical climates as well. That is in the relatively high temperature, and it is also a fast growing one. It just grows within a month, like 30 to 35 days, we can get the fruiting. The temperature that can be maintained is around 35 to 40 degrees Celsius. So it is in most of the places during summer seasons also we can go with cultivating this mushroom. But the yield will be very less when compared to our other mushroom. Like say, for example, we will get only 500 grams of mushrooms when we, when we prepare a bag with 500 grams of paddy straw. So the shelf life will be 3 to 4 hours because it will be very light, right? Like a papery substance it will be. So the shelf life will be very lesser. But it can be used for preparing some of the value-added products, like say for example pickles and all those. So it gives a very good, the taste and flavor will be very good. The protein content is around 21.3%. Next, this is Shiketi mushroom. So that is Lentis idodes. So these types of mushrooms we commonly see and we say like something which is harming us. But this mushroom has very good medicinal properties. So it is mainly suitably cultivated in hilly and temperate regions. So it is an excellently edible and an important medicinal mushroom. So this helps in treating some of the diabetics, and it has more anti-cancer properties. So in terms of production around the globe, so this Shiketi mushroom has been cultivated mostly. So it stands second in terms of its production. So the temperature to be maintained here is some 20 to 25 degrees Celsius, and the relative humidity is around 85%. So the total life cycle is around 3 months, and this is very rich in high quality protein and also vitamin B. It is also it has high amount of calcium as well. So this is best suited for diabetics as well as the heart patients. So then we have this Jewish ear mushroom. So this we quite commonly found in the dead and decayed trees and very old trees. So it will be like an ear-like thing. So that is why it is called as Jewish ear mushroom. So it is Auricularia auricula. So it is a mycelial growth. The temperature, it can withstand will be around 24 to 30 degrees Celsius with a relative humidity of 90 to 95%. So wherever, so this type will be grown mostly in the winter seasons. Winter and spring seasons, we can find these growth on the dead elder trees as well as the fallen branches. So the carbon dioxide requirement for this, for this to grow, for the Jewish ear mushrooms to grow should be more than 5,000 to 20,000 ppm. So no sunlight or the lights are required for its growth because it grows in a very humid area as well as in the dark place. So what are the requirements that if I want to go for a mushroom production, be it a small scale or a large scale production? So the first and foremost thing is we need a spawn. So spawn is nothing but a seeding material, like how we go for planting some plants, be it either the seeds or seedlings or any cutting. So similarly for mushroom production, we need spawn. So it works as a seed material in the cultivation of mushrooms. Then we can use several bedding material, that is a medium for cultivation. We can use paddy straw, we can use sawdust of rubber, we can use wheat straws, then sorghum straws. So these can be used as a medium for the cultivation. Then polythene bag, so for packaging of material for medium. Then we need polythene sheet for preparation of paddy straw medium, because we have to, steam it before preparing this, before we start up the mushroom production. Then we use potassium permanganate or formalin for sterilization purpose, that too for sterilizing the rooms where the mushroom is going to be cultivated. So because while cultivating mushroom, so that room has to be free of, it should be properly sterilized before we start up the mushroom production, else it gets contaminated. So what is the method for this mushroom production? So first we just collect the paddy straws or wheat straw or whatever the bedding material you have. So we just collect it and we have to cut that straw into small pieces. So after cutting them into fine, small pieces, in the sense at least the finger length pieces, then we have to soak those cuttings, the straw cuttings in water for almost we have to soak it for a whole day, whole night. Then we have to take it and shade dry, we have to shade dry that paddy straw. So when we are, after it has been dried, so after it has been soaked and removed, so it has to be steamed. So we use autoclave. So if we are going with any commercial production, we use autoclaves for steaming that paddy straw. So why we are steaming it? Because so it may contaminate, it may have some contamination. So to reduce that contamination or to make it nil from contamination or any external damages, so we use, we will be sterilizing it with the autoclave. So if we don't have autoclave, so we can go with some big drums and we can just boil or we can just steam the paddy straw. Then after it has been steamed, so we just want to dry it in the shady area. So the drying should be in such a case, like it should not be over dried or it should not be too wetty. So if we just take some sample of that paddy straw and if we just squeeze it, so the water should not fall from that. So, but it should be somewhat wetty. So that is the exact condition which we can use for preparation of the medium, that is preparation of beds. So now we will take out the polythene bag. So we will be, we have to put holes around say for example, 6 to 12 holes can be made in the polythene bag. Then we have to go with the bedding material. So first we have to take some quantity of this paddy straw and we have to just fill the bag. A small portion has to be filled. Then we have to take up the spawn and we have to just spray few spawns on the top of the paddy straw, the sterilized paddy straw. Then again we have to add some more bedding material and again some spawns has to be added. So similarly we can just make into, we can just sandwich the paddy straw as well as the spawn simultaneously, and we can just with a small PVC pipe we can just insert it and we can tie it with the rubber band at the top of the bag, so that there will be little aeration and there will not be over aeration. So it should be maintained in that way. So after that, it has to be kept. So all these process has to be done in a very, a sterilized room or sterilized environment. So if you don't want to go with any of the chemical treatment, it's better we can go with some of the we can go with fumigation with some of the neem leaves. So before bedding is being prepared. So if you have more spaces, so you can use racks around the rooms, and you can just place all those all those beds in the racks. So if you have, the space constraint, so you can just hang the bedding material from the ceiling. So like we can just have a jute or any thread, any strong thread, and we can just tie the bags. So say for example, we can tie some 3 or 4 bags from the top to the bottom. So that there will be a space between space of around 60 to 70 centimeters between the bags. So after that, it will be kept. It is now ready for the growth. So periodically, we have to check to the temperature, and also we have to go with checking up the relative humidity, and we have to make sure that it is properly maintained. And every time we have to go and observe whether there is any contamination in that bags or not. So if you find there is a contamination, then the whole bag has to be discarded. So if we didn't discard in one bag, so all the bags will get contaminated. So when we are entering into that room, so we have to be properly sterilized. So we have to wash our hands properly. We have to tie our hairs, and we should wear a very clean cloth before entering into that room. So that type of preparation of the mushroom, preparation of bedding material and periodical monitoring will help in getting more yield. So depending upon the different types of mushrooms, so we will go with different methods of the preparation of the bedding material. So after some 30 or 35 days, depending upon the variety of, mushrooms which we are cultivating, the harvesting will be done. So we can go with 2 to 3 harvest. So till that the spawns will be, the spawn production will be there. So how about the cost and returns? So the total cost that may require to grow around 10 quintals of mushrooms will be around 50,000 to 60,000 rupees, other than the area required. Okay, so if you have a neat area, say if you have say around some 100 square feet, so you can go with purchasing all the spawns and your fumigators, then small pipes, your paddy straw, and a polythene cover, and the mulching sheets. So those, it may cost around some 50,000 to 60,000 rupees. So mostly depending upon the varieties of the mushroom, say for example, if you're going with oyster mushroom, the price will vary. So if you go with button mushrooms, the price may vary. So depending upon the market price, it may be around 120 per kg to rupees 160 per kg. If you go with the shiketi mushroom, so it will cost even around 1,000 rupees. So it depends, depending upon the mushroom variety which you are cultivating. So on an average, the BC ratio, which is nothing but the benefit cost ratio, which we have found out is around 1.9. So if you invest 1 rupee for cultivating mushroom, so you will get a return of around 1.90 rupees to around 3.50 rupees as well. So this is the market potential in mushroom cultivation. So now over a period of time, the market potential for the mushroom is increasing over a period of time, because the demand is increasing mostly in the European countries as well as in the North American countries. So, but the production is still in a very, in a dynamic state. So it has to be increased. So, like we people, when we are interested to go with some of the small scale industries or something else, so we can go with the mushroom cultivations. Even government is providing trainings, and several workshops are being conducted, and even several schemes are also running for enhancing the mushroom production. So who is our marketers? I mean, who is our target beneficiaries to whom we can able to, because nowadays market plays a major role. Whatever we produce, so we should have a market. So the first is, obviously we can go with, if you are going with any button mushrooms. So restaurants are ready to purchase the button mushrooms. So because they have mature needs. So we have many food items that is being produced with mushrooms. Then the farmers markets, which is nothing but open market. So the general public also is interested in getting the mushrooms, then selling it in online. So we have several platforms. So we can create either a web page or a website, or we can have social media marketing in selling up the mushrooms. That is nothing but your online marketing. Then we can dry the mushrooms. So if it could not be stored for a longer period of time, so it is not possible. We could not waste it. So if that is the case, we can just dry the mushrooms in shady area, and we can pack it, and we can make it in the future days, like for preparation of any powders or any chips like thing, or for any garnishing. So for those things, the dried mushrooms can be produced, can be used. Then the packaged products. So if you are going to export it, so based on the type of packages which we use, it will be acceptable, or the shelf life may be increased in the other countries, and it can be accepted by the other country people. So what is the market strategies we can follow? So first one is creating a unique website with user-friendly interface, that is e-marketing. Then participating in melas, food festivals, and trade fairs for the networking purposes. Then use of multimedia platforms. Then placing adverts in local newspapers, foods and magazines. Then focusing on different kinds of fresh mushrooms, such as button mushroom, shiketi, oyster, enoki, all these, because they have a wide demand in the market. Then we can go with processed mushrooms like frozen or dried or canned. So this is what I would like to discuss for this mushroom production and its market potential. So if you have any doubts, it is open for discussion.